Hey, what's up, you guys? So I'm about to do a story time video. My beat is always the same. All right, I'm up on my kitchen counter, you guys. My pants is too tight. Hold on. Okay. I'm up on the kitchen counter because I was trying to think where I want to do a video. I couldn't decide. So I'm like, you know what? I love this counter. I am so blessed to have this beautiful kitchen. You guys will probably see more of my kitchen when I post these cooking videos that me and my son did together. All right. Now, I'm doing this story time, my first story time actually, on my home birth of my daughter, or unassisted childbirth. A lot of people really enjoy hearing a little bit of it on my last video. I know I kind of like clickbaited you guys with that video. I named it my unassisted home birth. The reason why I named it that was because I wanted to see how many people actually be intrigued by that topic, and also I wanted to like see how many people would actually inquire further on that, because I was thinking about doing a story time of it. So now here we have the story time, the official story of my unassisted / home birth. First, a lot of people, like, their first reaction is, OMG, you never went to a doctor, you never had an ultrasound. All right, backtrack a little bit to my birth of my son. Okay, I was 18, my water broke naturally. I went to the hospital and they like doped me up on Pitocin, which, if you guys don't know, Pitocin is basically something that will make you have contractions to kind of speed up the labor. I don't know, because I was 18, I didn't really know anything. All I knew was that whatever the doctor decided to do, that was what the doctor decided to do. And I feel like if I had a good doctor, my doctor would have said, okay, Samantha, your water broke, but your contractions have not arrived yet, so you know, just let the contractions come naturally. But at the same time, some doctors believe that once your water breaks, you only have a certain amount of time to get the baby out before perhaps it will, you know, poop in the sac and things like that. So I guess I could see from both perspectives, but if I was more mature and more educated, I would have said, okay, my water broke, but I'm not gonna go to the hospital until I have contractions. But my water broke and I'm like 18. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think my water broke. So I went to the hospital. So they doped me up on a Pitocin, but then when I did start getting the contractions, first of all, I don't know, I'm trying not to like skip ahead when I tell you guys this, okay? So like, when I did have my contractions, when you're doped up on Pitocin, it makes you have contractions. So like, you're having like contractions like every other couple of minutes unnaturally. Like, your body is not doing it naturally. So by the time it was actually like really bad, I'm like, you know, go ahead and give me an epidural. And that was a big mistake too. So I guess this is gonna be like two story times in one, because I can't not tell you guys why I ended up deciding to do an unassisted childbirth. So then I went ahead and did the epidural, but again, I was not very educated. The epidural basically like made it to where I couldn't push. When you have a natural childbirth, the baby pushes. You don't have to push, and we will get to that part. But I was in this position where, okay, so you guys sped up my contractions and you gave me an epidural so I couldn't feel the contractions, and now you want me to push, but I can't feel what I'm doing and I don't even understand what's going on. And so basically they said, you know, you're not pushing correctly. So they turned the epidural all the way down, which, if you guys don't know what epidural is, it's like this numbing medicine, but they put it in your spine. It's a long needle too. Oh my gosh. If you're ever considering getting an epidural, I don't recommend it, because they end up turning it all the way down. So I had to figure out how to push him out, even though he wasn't ready to come out. Once I did have my son, that pain in my back did not go away for like a year. Like, I say like 9 to 12 months I had that ache from that epidural, which was not effective in reducing my pain overall. So because I couldn't push properly and because everything was just so ruined, they end up like, I think they put forceps inside of me. Honestly, at some point I don't even know what happened, because I was fearful of death. I thought I was gonna die. I did not think I was gonna make it out alive. So I went into the hospital at 12 o'clock at night. At 10 o'clock at night, and I had my son at 10:58 the next morning, but it took a little while to get him out. So anyways, I was trying to push, couldn't push. They turned the epidural all the way down, and I remember I peed so much in the doctor's face. I secretly think that like really turned him on. My doctor, like, he used to always get hard when I used to go to like visit him at the office, like to get checkups. But that was after I gave birth. So like, I think that me pissing on him almost, he was mad though. He was like, she's pissing all over the place. Your vagina and your pee area is two different areas, and they take two different pushes. Apparently. But anyway, so basically when it was finally time for the baby to come out, they said it was like probably around like, I think I started pushing for real around like 7 a.m. and then like 9 a.m. was like, okay, it's time for action. But he was born at 10:58 a.m. and they hated me. First of all, when the doctor comes in, like 10 people came in behind him, which really threw me off. They bring all of these residents in, and you really don't even have any control over who they're bringing into the room. It's a business. So they're trying to train these people. They're bringing them in. You don't even know. And you can't really say anything. I mean, you probably can. I probably could have. If I was more mature, I would have said, look, y'all need to get out. This is between me, my nurse, and my doctor. That wasn't the situation. My daughter's awake. I swear. I can't do nothing. I'll be right back, y'all. What, baby? Baby, you need to stop. What is wrong? Ugh. I do not get a break with my kids ever. Alright, so anyways, back to what I was saying. They brought a whole bunch of people into the room, and that really threw me off. But back then I was young and I wasn't, I don't want to be rude to anybody, so I wasn't going to say anything. But it made it really hard to focus on giving birth to my child. When you give birth to your baby, you don't want to have all those strangers in the room, and like feel like you're not in control, especially if you're like 18 like I was. That really made it hard for me to push, and like I just didn't really feel like that one-on-one like experience with my doctor. I didn't really feel like my doctor cared about the birth of my child. I just felt like it was just like if I was at a fast food restaurant, like, okay, it's another burger, just ship it out. Like, that's how it was. Eventually, I couldn't really give birth to my child correctly. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. They end up like, getting the forceps. I only remember because my son had like a cut on his head. It was like a small cut. I just remember when his head popped out. I was like, oh my God, thank God, like I could stop pushing. And the doctor was like, no, like everybody was like, no, keep pushing. Because his body still needed to come out. And then of course the placenta. All I could say when I actually like pushed my son out was like, thank God, thank God, thank God. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. And I was, because it came a point where like, one person was like putting a towel underneath me, another person was putting a towel over my face, another person was putting like oxygen over my mouth. And I'm like, you guys really have issues, like y'all need help. But yes, I was very grateful to make it out alive. And then another bad thing is like, as soon as you have the baby, Like, they let you hold the baby for a couple of minutes, but then they just take the baby. Like, they just do what they want with your child, and it's like, no. So they took my son out and told me that I needed to take a shower. Okay, wait, let me backtrack. So I finally like delivered my baby, delivered the placenta, and the doctor was like, yeah, just stitch her up, add a couple of extra stitches. And I'm like, so that was that, right? So after you get all stitched up or whatever, they take the baby because they gotta do like these tests, and they gotta do like shots and all of that stuff. And then they like make you take a shower, and it's like, do you guys not realize everything I just went through? I don't want to have to take a shower right away. And y'all just sewed me up. I don't even know how my junk is like. And because they rushed the baby out and they like pulled him out, they made my junk rip. Like, it was horrible. I remember after I gave birth to my son, there was like a really sensitive spot on me where it was sensitive because I ripped like right there. Like, everything about that experience was like horrific for me. Like, it was just bad. So I know I said I was gonna try to keep this short, but I want to be honest with you guys. And I want you guys to understand why I chose what I chose, because maybe people go through this all the time and they want to have that knowledge of knowing like that there is a better option than to go through things like that. So yeah, it was really bad. Like, I always knew like I will never go through something like that again. But yeah, so they take your baby and then eventually they bring the baby back, and I don't like any of that. Like, I wanted to be in better control of my fate and my baby's fate and all of that. So anyways, moving forward to my unassisted childbirth. If you guys want to know why did I choose to do a home birth or unassisted childbirth, that is 100% why. So with my daughter, this is what happened. I got pregnant and I knew I was not going to go to a doctor. I knew I was not going to go to a hospital, like, at all whatsoever. And I will say I did have peer pressure to go to a doctor or a hospital. No, I can't do it. So anyways, that was that. But really, I did want to go and get an ultrasound. I like got to a breaking point where I was like, oh, I want to go to the doctor and get an ultrasound. Well, that didn't work out. So after that, people were suggesting that I would just get like a midwife or something like that. And so there was like a couple of midwives that I spoke to, and I told them, I'm like, you know, I'm considering having an unassisted childbirth, and they didn't have any advice for me or like any insight. And the type of person I am, I feel like if you know that I want to have an unassisted childbirth and you're a midwife, the way that you sell me is to encourage me, like, oh yeah, an unassisted childbirth will be really good. Just make sure that you keep in mind this and that. But they didn't care. They were just like, oh, okay, you don't need my services. And to me, that's a bad salesman. The money was more important to them than the experience. And for that reason, I couldn't invest into them. So another reason why I ended up having a completely unassisted childbirth without a midwife or anything like that is because I didn't really know what my due date was going to be. And for much of my pregnancy, I was like in extreme denial. I don't know why, honestly. Like, I was just like really naive and immature. And you know, when I actually thought that I was gonna have the baby, I remember I swore that I was gonna have her in February. I just knew. And I was in the bath one day. It was a big jacuzzi bath. You guys, if you guys been following me for a while, y'all might know what bath I'm talking about. But I was living in this house, and I had my own room and my own bathroom. It was a room for rent, and it had a big jacuzzi bath. I loved it. It was so nice. All right, so I'm in that bath. The bath is huge, like about the size of this counter, but like rounded. Oh, so nice. Anyways, so I was in the bathtub and I thought I was due any day. I'm like, I'm gonna have this baby any day. And I just remember, and I swear, it was horrific. I was in the bathtub and the baby just like boom, like right like out, like it was about to come out, and I'm like, oh my God, don't come out. Like, man, that baby, if y'all know my daughter, y'all know what I'm talking about. She's boom, boom. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to give birth to this baby. And then she did it again, and I threw up in the bathtub. That's how hard she was like trying to like get out. Maybe the water was too hot or something and she was like mad, I don't know, but I swear I threw up in the bathtub. It was horrible. That's the only time I ever thrown up in a bathtub. So after that, I was like so sure that I was gonna have her, and I didn't have her, so that was pretty discouraging. And then I was pretty much like back at square one, where it's like, I don't know when I'm gonna have my baby. And a lot of people probably be like, well, you know, calculate from the time that you missed your period. But the thing about my pregnancy, and it's a whole different story time, is that I really didn't know, like when I got pregnant, I didn't know when to expect the baby or any of that stuff. I just knew that I was having a baby. I just knew that she was a girl, and I just knew that I wanted to have her on my own. And so yeah, moving forward, that was in February. She was born in June. So I remember actually the morning that I started having contractions, I remember it to this day. So at this point I wasn't living in that room no more that I had rented with the big nice bathtub. That was only for a month. That was from February to March. And then in March, I don't know, a lot of stuff happened. But come June, I ended up living in this trailer. Somebody let me use their room there, just stay there or whatever. And I just remember we were all at the breakfast table and I had a contraction, but I did not know it was a contraction. And if I thought it was a contraction, I was in denial. So like, I just remember we were all, and I was talking about it, I was like, I'm probably gonna have a baby, you know, any day now, yada yada yada, blah blah. And I was thinking like it wouldn't be for like another couple of weeks. Well, then I kept having that pain throughout the day. And this is where I wanted to tell you guys ahead of time when I was telling you about my son. So when you have like natural contractions, the feeling is not that bad. A lot of people think that contractions are horrible. When you have them naturally, like you will have a contraction and be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you'll hold your breath for like 10 seconds, be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you'll be like, oh, thank God that's over. That is a contraction. Like, it's just like this tight feeling. You're like, oh my God, oh my God. And then like 10 seconds later, you're like, oh, thank God. Of course, until you get to like 5 minutes before you're about to have your baby, which I'll tell you guys about that. But like that happened numerous times throughout the day. And then honestly, I really didn't think anything of it. Like I never like stopped and was like, oh my God, is this a contraction? But I was in bed laying with my son and we were reading a book. It was a Joel Osteen book called Breakout. I love that book. Somebody gave me that book as a gift, and then I gave it to somebody as a gift. But I was texting my sister, the one right under me, my favorite sister, and I was like, you know, I think I'm having contractions. And I'm laughing because she was like, okay, I'm like, I think I'm having contractions. And she's like, how far apart? And I'm like legitimately like 5 to 10 minutes. And she's like, you know you're in labor, right? And I was like, look, do not say that. I am not in labor. And I was in denial. Look, okay, let me turn on a good song for this part. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm being petty. I'm being petty. Hey, I'm being petty. Hey, I'm being petty. Where's my favorite mixtape? I got it. Oh, yes. Y'all gotta hear this. Hold on, I'm about to restart the video. I'm on 15 minutes. I'm killing y'all. Sorry, y'all. I know I'm killing the game. All right, so. Hey, I must be dreaming. Hey. Cause I got the cars, got the clothes, got the money and the hoes. And the way I see it, it ain't gonna change. I must be. Y'all don't know nothing about this old school Wiz Khalifa. All right, I'm getting so excited because I am like, I could not believe everything that was happening when it was happening. So, all right, to give you guys like a setting, I was homeless, okay? I didn't have any job. Look, I'm 9 months months pregnant. Where am I supposed to work? I have my son 24/7. When I moved to Florida, I didn't put him in daycare. None of that stuff. He was 3. All right, so wait, was he 3? Well, by that time he was 5. He was 3 when we went to Florida. By that time he was 5. All right, so he was still young to me. He was young. But all right, so my sister was like, you know you're in labor, right? And I'm like, look girl, don't you jinx me. I swear I had to have said those exact words. I'm like, chill, I am not in labor. And she's like, my sister, I'm sorry y'all, I'm not trying to be rude, but my sister has way more kids than me, okay? She knows when somebody is in labor, and she's like, you're in labor. And I'm like, oh my God, no. But I couldn't read anymore. It hurt so bad. I'm like, oh my God, this hurts so bad. Like natural contractions in the beginning, natural contractions are like wonderful. Like if you ever get the chance to experience natural contractions, I'm sorry, I think a lot of people are like way over dramatic because they see stuff on TV and they think, oh, you know, you have to react this way or you have to react that way. No. I woke up at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning and I had a contraction. And then a couple hours later, I had a contraction. And a couple hours later, actually what ended up happening was that eventually I went to the bathroom and I started bleeding. That's what they call like the mucus plug, or like, you know, the plug, whatever that is. So basically like the mucus plug is like this little plug, I guess, that keeps the baby from coming out. But that comes out and then like you have a little spell of blood. I had that, and even at that point I was still like, I was in denial. If you don't want something to be true to you, it's not going to be true no matter what is in front of you. It's just like, if you tell yourself like this is not a fact of reality, for you it's not going to be a fact of reality. So I'm like, I am not going into labor. I cannot have my baby in this trailer. I'm homeless. I don't have any money. I don't even know how she's going to get diapers. She doesn't have any clothes. God forbid that she wouldn't actually be a girl. It was crazy. My sister, she spoke it into existence. Nah, she was speaking facts, because like literally 10 minutes later I was texting her a picture of my baby. So I was reading with my son. It was like really bad, and I'm like, Antonio, I'm like in a lot of pain right now. I need to go to the bathroom. Back then I had a dog, so all of y'all that really know me, y'all know my dog. Oh, I loved her. My Polly, her name was Polly. All right, so Polly was there too, and so I left the bedroom door open for Antonio and Polly, and I was in the bathroom, and I just remember it so clearly. So like, all right, I'm like, oh my God, this hurts so bad, and I push. That was the first push. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God. And the whole time I'm like, God, please don't let this baby come. God, please don't let this baby come. Like, God, please do not let me be in labor. Do not let me be in labor. And I'm like saying it over and over. And then the second push came. I'll say it was like 1.5, because the second push wasn't like a full push, because that was when I realized like, you're having a baby right now. Like, this is on you. You're giving birth to a baby right now completely on your own. And you always think of like, when people tell you like, don't push too soon, you know, and this and that, well, I don't know if you guys heard of that stuff, but like basically you're not supposed to push, you're supposed to let the pressure push. And that's what I didn't know when I had my son. They were telling me push. No, I don't have to push, the baby pushes, and I just like open my muscles to let the baby do what the baby needs to do. That's the difference. So I'm like, that 1.5 push was when I was like the first one was like, I was holding back, like, oh my God, no. And then a 1.5 push, I'm like, okay, Samantha, this ain't a joke. And then the 2 push, which I'm standing up in the bathroom, and I'm like actually running water in the bath at that point. I'm like, oh my God, this baby is legitimately coming, which I originally intended on having her inside of a bathtub, like a water birth or whatever. So I'm like running bath water, and the second push came, and like, it was like, you could not resist to push. That's how you know. You could not resist to push. And I'm like, with the contraction, of course, because you have to push with the contractions. I did all of that research on my own. Nobody ever taught me that. Nobody told me, Samantha, when you have the contraction, push. I didn't know any of that. So I had the contraction. That's your opportunity. That's where like the momentum is going. You're like, you got to push with the contraction. So I did that. And when I did that, the water broke and the head popped out. And at that point, first of all, I was in denial. Like, my battery is about to die. I'm dead right now. Hold on, you guys. I'm about to change the battery real quick. I am so sorry, guys. That battery was blinking red. All right. So, anyways, I don't even know where I left off. Okay, I'm just gonna start by saying this. I do apologize. This video, I'm talking about movie. This video is getting long. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. All right. But yeah. So, anyways. Oh, I didn't tell y'all the best part. So push number 2 was her head popping out. And this is the thing. When you realize like that, well, for me, when I realized like, hold on, I think I messed that up a little bit. When I realized that I was like legitimately giving birth to a baby on my own, I'm like, oh my God. And then when you realize like that this hairy head, like a child is like about to pop out of your vagina, it's a disgusting feeling. I'm not gonna hold y'all up. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could not touch it. Like, I don't know, it's really weird. Maybe if I would have had like a big mirror and I could see everything. There was no mirrors, okay? The only way I could see something if I looked down, and like, you're in so much pain, like you don't want to look down like that, no. So anyways, I'm like trying to hurry up and run the water, and I'm like, baby, wait, don't come out yet. And then it was like, the contractions at that point are so close together. Like, no, we're not talking about a minute together. I mean, a minute apart. No, we're talking about like 30 seconds together. Like 30 seconds, push, 30 seconds, push, 30 seconds. And then the third push, I'm like, oh no. And she was going, the second push, her head popped out and my water broke. So for the third push, which obviously, as you guys know, this was completely different from my first birth. For the third push, I was like, okay, yeah, I had not even made it into the bath. The bath water was about this high, and I'm like, no. So when I'm like, how am I going to push this baby out in the bathtub with this much water? It just wouldn't feel comfortable. So the only other option was the toilet. The only other option was the toilet. The only other option was the toilet. I'm sorry, you guys. Look, it was either squat and like give birth to my baby on the floor, because I was not about to touch this thing coming out of my vagina. I'm like, no. So I squatted over the toilet, and it was a little tiny toilet too. It was perfect. The water wasn't very high in the toilet or anything like that. And so yeah, my baby was born in a trailer in a tiny toilet. And as soon as she dropped into the toilet, I like, there was like this 2-second window where I was like actually able to comprehend the fact that I just gave birth to a baby. So it was like 1, 2, 3, push, baby came out, and it was like 1, 2, oh my God, I just had a baby. Oh my God, my baby's in the toilet. Oh my God, let me grab the baby. And so of course I grabbed her out of the toilet. It all happened so fast. Like, I don't know, it just happened so fast. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe like I have a baby in my hand. And then of course there was the stress of, you know, like giving birth to the placenta. You have to give birth to the placenta also. And then there was the stress of the umbilical cord and knowing when and how to cut it, which I had done a lot of research on that. And basically with the umbilical cord, well, first you want to let the placenta birth itself, which again, I was sitting over the toilet. So I was like, at that point I was just holding my little baby and, you know, sitting over the toilet. And my dog was out. Like, I don't know how my son felt, and I'm sure he don't remember because he was so young, but my dog was like outside of the bathroom, like freaking out, like whining and like freaking out because she wanted to know what was going on with me, but I was not in a position to tend to her. Then I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm like, you know, holding my baby, and I'm like taking a picture of her, sending it to my sister. That was really special that she was like the first person to, like, she was like with me during my birth. Like, even though she wasn't physically with me, she was still there. But yeah, so I sat there and I'm like trying to endure like the fact that I just gave birth to a baby and a toilet. I'm like, oh my gosh. The craziest thing was that she was born at 11:58 p.m. and it was actually on my sister's birthday. So I just thought like that was so crazy. It was just like this moment of realization, like, you know, you record your baby's birth, like you record what time the baby was born, you record what day the baby was born. Like, it's just like everything is up to you. Then the placenta came out, which was cool. It came out in the toilet or whatever. I just stayed on the toilet. And the thing about the placenta is that you want to let it come out naturally. You don't want to like continue to push it. And I think when I gave birth to my son, they pulled it out. If you rush the placenta out of your uterus, you can ruin it. So, you know, I was in a position where a lot was like on my shoulders. Like, I was carrying a lot of weight. It's not easy, but it's something where you have to trust God and have faith. And so that's what I did. But the placenta came out on its own. And with the umbilical cord, basically the umbilical cord will, like, I guess it will be like pumping blood, like pulsating, and when it's not pulsating, then that's when it's safe to cut the umbilical cord. And so I did wait a while, and then eventually I did cut it. But the only downfall was that, one, I didn't have anything to like pin. Like, they put like a, I don't think they really put like a clothespin, but they put something to like, I don't know, they taped the umbilical cord or something, or wrap it around something. I did cut it, but I cut it a little bit too short. But it wasn't a big deal because it still worked out. But basically you want to be able to cut it and still tie it. And so like I cut it a little bit too short to where I couldn't really tie it correctly. It still worked out. But even if you can't like tie it correctly, the point of like being able to tie it is so that it won't continue to like leak out blood. So there was a little bit of blood that leaked onto her shirt. That was it. After that, you know, I got in the bath with the baby and like, you know, endured the fact that I just gave birth to a baby on my own in the toilet. And it was really nice. I loved it. The baby came out in 3 pushes, like 3.5 pushes, and the placenta came out on its own. You know, I was able to cut the umbilical cord, and she was healthy. She was really tiny, and I didn't really think she was that tiny, but eventually I found out that she was like 4 pounds. So my son was 7 pounds 4 ounces, and my daughter was 4 pounds and 7 ounces, or was she 4.8? She was like 4.7, 4.8. But yeah, so she was really tiny. And I feel like, one, I always ask God to give me like a tiny little baby. Like, I wanted a tiny baby. But also, I think she was really small too, because I was extremely active when I was pregnant. Like, super active. So yeah, that's the story of my home birth. First of all, just so y'all know, it wasn't a quote-unquote home birth because I was homeless. And it was an unassisted childbirth. And I will tell you guys, first, unassisted childbirth is frowned upon because people automatically think that you do not know what you're doing. And I did get faced with controversy in that situation, which I guess I could tell you guys about in another story time. This story time is way too long as it is. Some things I really would like anybody to know if they are considering home birth or unassisted childbirth is, one, if you do choose it, like, let it be a choice between you and between God and between your spouse. Like, don't leave a door open for people to discourage you or to frown upon what you believe or to frown upon what you want. Secondly, I will say, be stable, because I was in a position where I wasn't stable, and that really backfired on me, because what ended up happening was that I was forced to go to the hospital. And I really hated that. Like, I was forced to go to the hospital. I had to endure judgment. You know, people, they thought that my baby had problems because she weighed a little bit and not a lot, and they like tried to pump her up on formula and make her like weigh what they thought she should weigh, and I don't agree with that kind of stuff at all. Other things that I would recommend is like, just be one with God. Like, through my whole pregnancy, I was one with God, and like, God prepared me. Like, I cannot tell you guys how many times I like took baths by myself, and I'm like, oh my God, please Lord, in the name of Jesus, like, let me give birth to this baby successfully, and like, let me, you know, like, make it through this experience. Like, there was like so many times where it was just like, I don't think I'm gonna make it through, I don't think I'm gonna make it through, but God was always there. And you know, even down to the fact that my baby was a girl. Like, I can't tell y'all how quick I picked her up out that toilet and I looked like, is this a girl? And she was. Thank God, like, that he guided me through that experience, and he knew what I wanted, he knew what was best for me, he made my dreams come true. I feel like you definitely have to be one with God in order to really make it through that situation. A lot of people are just so focused on being like accepted. Like, don't worry about being accepted. And a lot of people are so fearful, but it's just like, to me, leaving my life in the hands of other people is so much worse. When I was, you know, 18 and I didn't know any better, I remember every time I went to the doctor's office. Anything else I could think to give you guys? If you end up in a position where you have a home birth or a unassisted childbirth, oh, that's what I was gonna say too. By the way, if you, like, for instance, if I would have had my baby unassisted childbirth and somebody would have helped me, I've read that that is like, quote unquote, illegal, against the laws. If you choose to have an unassisted childbirth, you have to do it 100% on your own. You cannot have anybody help you. If you want someone to help you, then you need to hire a midwife or a doctor of some sort. When you have an unassisted childbirth, the responsibility is all on you. So like, if anything happens, like, you hold full accountability. Like, you cannot blame anybody else at all whatsoever if anything ever goes wrong. Thank God in my position everything went above and beyond expectations. It wasn't really ideal that the baby was born in the toilet, and that is on her birth record, by the way. On the birth record, it says that she was born into a toilet. I'm like, why would y'all put that in the birth record? Y'all couldn't leave that out. Hey, it is what it is. Some of us have the privilege. We can be born in a hospital, or we can be born in a toilet. But yeah, you guys, so that's my story of my home birth, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's really, you know, like, entertaining and everything like that, but I really would like to inspire more women to pursue home birth and to pursue godliness and the fact that we can give birth to children on our own, and we don't have to, you know, have the doctors involved. When it comes to bearing children, I don't feel that there's a need to have anybody involved except for God and self. Like, it's just such a divine experience. So I encourage anybody, if you could just have the courage to, you know, give birth to a baby on your own. Like, I really do encourage you to just take that leap. It will be so worth it. The bonding experience and just like the strength that you discover in yourself, like, just knowing like, I can do anything. I can literally give birth to a baby on my own, and it is so liberating. And honestly, I really look forward to the opportunity to have another baby on my own. Like, I just feel like it would be so nice to just like give birth to another baby like the right way on my own. That was like an experiment. Like, I want to do like a official version. So if y'all see me pregnant again, y'all already know what time it is. Thank you guys so much for the support. I definitely intend on giving you guys more videos and also letting you guys get to know me more. If you are women, just like reach out to me if you have any questions. I just definitely want to be like inspiring and like motivational, and also like I just want to be a friend to a lot of women. I don't really care for the guys that much. I love you guys. Thank you for the views, but I feel like my purpose is really to like help a lot of women as mothers and as women, as wives perhaps, even though I'm not a wife yet. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, so just reach out. That's all I can do is just tell you guys, reach out and I will respond. I do love the positivity. I love all of the views. I love the fact that you guys really dig me. You dig me, yay. And you guys will be seeing my son on this channel again soon, so be ready. I love you guys so much. I thank you so much for watching my videos, and I have also gotten feedback telling me that I'm like so shy on my videos. I'm a shy person, so if y'all ain't ready for that, then I don't know what to tell y'all. Also, if you DM me and you ask me for my Snapchat, I will give you my Snapchat, okay? Y'all need to get in tune with me on a daily basis. So ask for my Snapchat so I can add you guys, okay? I'm adding people every day and I have gotten a lot of Snapchat requests lately. What time is it? It's 1:58 a.m. Good morning. I'm out. I am out this beat.